Hi, I am super excited to be coming in today to talk to you guys about why doTERRA, which to me is an extremely important topic that I think everybody should be kind of aware of why we choose doTERRA and why doTERRA is so different from all the companies out there. It was certainly what drew me to doTERRA was a lot of what I'm going to be kind of talking about today. So let's jump on in. So interestingly enough, doTERRA was started by some people that used to work for another essential oil company, and they saw potential. They saw that there could be a greater impact with essential oils if there were, some modifications around the way that the oils were sourced and the way they were distilled and produced, and that would change the potency, that would change the therapeutic benefits. You would see more sustainable benefits. So they kind of saw that there was a need, and they just went out there and they started doTERRA, which is amazing. So what they did was they searched out all over the world and tried to find where the plants grew and thrive within its natural environment. So there are over 100 oils, or around 100 oils in probably over 40 countries all over the world, which is amazing. So for example, vetiver is from Haiti, peppermint is from Washington, lavender is from France. All over the world. It's pretty cool. So they basically picked the location where the environment was most beneficial to the plant. So they took into account the soil pH, the climate, the precipitation, different environmental factors, the length of the growing season, things like that. Those all contribute to the chemical makeup of the plant, and then therefore the medicinal properties within the oil. So that's also really important. So the cool thing is that throughout the world, doTERRA has partnered with the growers. So there's a lot of countries that grow for doTERRA, and they live within impoverished countries. So they could be battling some pretty awful conditions and working with some unfair companies who are exploiting them and things like that. But doTERRA comes in and creates these partnerships, often exclusive partnerships, and provides some on-time wages, fair, sustainable wages, equal payments with men and women. But not just that, oftentimes growing and harvesting seasons are, not annually, right? They're like a smaller chunk of the year, but doTERRA pays consistently throughout the year, so these people can continue to support their families, which I think is pretty amazing. So that's kind of called, co-impact sourcing, and they also support the communities however they need to be, creating schools and hospitals, building wells so people can have fresh water. Things like that, which is pretty awesome. So like every bottle of vetiver you buy is going to benefit a family or community in Haiti, which is a pretty cool thing, right? So you can make change around the world by helping yourself and by making the choice to buy through doTERRA, which is pretty amazing. And that was something that really drew me to doTERRA. So that's where you can get the oils from, which is pretty amazing. I mean, if you think about it, you can grow lavender anywhere. This is just an example. Like my mom grows lavender every summer in pots on the deck, and it looks beautiful and it smells okay. I mean, it's not extremely fragrant, but you wouldn't have the same medicinal properties as it would when it's grown in its native environment with the best pH, the best climate, the best temperature, the best environmental factors, which is in France, right? So to doTERRA, that's a really important piece. So they're going to go out and seek that plant. They're going to go out there and make that relationship, and they're going to make that happen for us. So we're so lucky, right? We get the best of the best. So once the vegetation is harvested, distillation takes place. So each distillery is a little bit different depending on where it is in the world. Some are like, can be a little bit crazy, not crazy, but, can be more like huts sealed with mud, all the way to like crazy high-tech facilities. It just depends on where the oil is sourced and how it needs to be distilled. But basically it's just steam distilled, so it's like steam distilled under, and it's a very specific amount of heat and pressure, very low heat, and that separates the oil from the vegetation. And then when they kind of turn it off or turn it down, the water separates from the oil, and that's how you collect the 100% oil, which is really cool. So they then take that oil and they rigorously test it. So doTERRA third-party tests it. not just once, but twice. So they test the batch when it's first been distilled, and then after it's been bottled, they also test each batch to make sure that there's been no change in chemical makeup. So, doTERRA is kind of the mind, as they should be, that, what's in nature is perfect. We don't need to modify it. So what you find in nature is exactly as we need it. So we're not looking to modify the oil and the makeup of the oil into something else. It's perfect as it is. So they check it, at distillation to make sure that we're at optimal, optimal constituents, optimal makeup. And then again, once it's been bottled, to make sure nothing's been changed, but also to make sure there's no additives or any contaminants or anything that's somehow made its way into the batch. So that what you're getting is 100% pure. And every bottle is the same. Every drop is the same. They match it so that, every bottle of frankincense is the same, which is so cool and very rare. That's also why doTERRA oils are studied around the world and run through a lot of different clinical trials and things like that. Because if you think about it, you can't really run an actual trial on something that changes, right? Because your results are going to be different. So they know that every bottle is going to be the same and every drop is going to be the same. If there's anything that's off, even just slightly, they don't use that batch. That batch often gets put to the side and might be sold to another company or something, but it's not, they don't sell it themselves and call it doTERRA. So it's really cool. doTERRA has partnered with a few different universities and around the world, and it's purely because of the consistency within the batch, drop to drop. These companies can rely on the fact that every bottle is going to be the same, and they can continue to do testing against it because that consistency, that's not something they have to worry about. That's not a factor or a variable they have to worry about changing. So it's really cool. It kind of gives doTERRA that legitimacy within the medical and science world, which is, to me, very important. I'm an environmental scientist. That's what I do kind of in my day job. And so that kind of legitimacy really means something to me. And that's definitely what drew me to doTERRA. So yeah, it's taken very seriously. So basically, we've kind of talked through what they do, and I should kind of mention that it's very different than other companies. And that's a lot because there's no regulating body. So there's no body out there making sure that whatever people put on the bottles is what it says, right? So an essential oil bottle can say 100% pure organic lavender, for example. And it only has to contain 10% of the oil in it to actually have that disclaimer. There's zero regulating body to make sure that it's got 100% oil. And actually, lavender is the most adulterated oil in the world. Oftentimes, the oil will be, diluted with some sort of, coconut oil or some other type of oil, and potentially have additives like chemical fragrances in it to accentuate the smell, so that when you open up the bottle, you go, oh, so fragrant. That's not what you want. You want a very even aroma. You want something that's got hits a lot of different notes. That's not just kind of burns the nostrils. So, you hear a lot of people who are like, oh, I can't use essential oils because my workplace is fragrance free. Essential oils are completely safe. There's no added fragrance to them. There's nothing in them that's going to irritate anybody, irritate their skin, irritate their smell, or anything like that. You do have to be careful when you use other essential oils because there are additives, there are other things like that. So they're not safe to be used in the workplaces, which kind of brings me to, when you look at the additives, when you're looking at something like the citrus oils, this is great. This is something I always think about. They say that it takes 33 lemons. What they do is they cold press the juices, and that's how they extract the oil. So for lemon. And so if you're not using a really high quality lemon and you're cold pressing 33 rinds just for one bottle, think of the concentration of chemicals and potential pesticides and herbicides and things like that would be in this bottle that you would then be putting on yourself, drinking, diffusing. That would be the equivalent of eating I don't know, a truckload of inorganic, highly sprayed food. It would just be so bad for you. And you have to remember, your skin is your largest organ. It is the doorway to your body. So by using these oils and by eating them and everything like that, you need to make sure the quality is really amazing, because you're going to be negatively impacting yourself. And especially if you've got little ones around, you know, their bodies are so small and sensitive. You don't want to be using stuff that could be having some detrimental impacts to them. So that's definitely something to, you know, really think about. We often think about like what we eat and oh, organic and oh, this and oh, that. But, you know, if you're going to be using essential oils, you need to be making sure you're using the best ones possible so you're not inadvertently harming yourself or your family. That was, you know, to me, that really resonates with me. That just is like, okay, yeah, wow, I really need to think about the quality of my oil, especially since we use the oils on my son every day, constantly, all day. And I use them on my puppy over there. So it's just a really important piece for me. So what else did I want to talk about? Oh, one thing that's really cool is if you look on the bottom of your bottles, and I believe it was as of May 2016, all the bottles produced after then, there's a lot number on the back of it, and you can go to, what's the email address? Hold on a second. sourcetoyou.com, and you can punch in the number on the bottom of the jar in there, and it will tell you where the oil was sourced and all of the testing that took place on the bottle, which is amazing. So doTERRA is extremely transparent with the processing and with everything that's happening with your oil, what's in it, the purity and everything like that, which is so important because you want to be with a company that doesn't have anything to hide, right? They want to tell you exactly what's in it, and you can go and check that every time you get a frankincense, you know, it'll be a different batch, but it will have the same makeup, it will have the same testing that's taken place, it will have everything. You know that there's nothing in it that's going to be harming you or affecting you or anything like that, right? So you're looking for that purity. You know, synthetic oils and fragrances and things like that, that's what causes negative side effects in your body. Naturally occurring oils do not. It's hard because you can't really trust. It's hard because there's no regulating body. So it's hard to trust for sure. The companies out there that are saying 100% pure this, 100% pure this, organic this, you know, all these things. It's that, you know, you need to find a company like doTERRA that you can truly trust, and you trust the information that they're telling you, that you trust each bottle is the way that it is. And I think this is amazing that you can go in and look at the bottle, every single bottle, and you can see where it comes from and all the testing that was done, and to verify that you have 100% pure, amazing quality oil. So that's amazing to me. So, I mean, that's kind of the stuff that I really wanted to talk about why doTERRA. There's a lot of other pieces about the way that they help. They have amazing charities and help around the world, which is also really cool. But, you know, I really just wanted to touch upon the purity and the sourcing of the oil, which to me is like really important. If there was anything that I missed or you have any questions at all, just let me know. I'll be happy to answer anything. Okay? Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you soon.